And okay, IndyStyle viewers at home, I want you to meet Barbara Singer, who is an extraordinary woman. Thank you so much for taking the time to come to Indianapolis and share your story with us. Your book is entitled Living Without Reservations. And in this book, you go on to talk about how you just made a huge life change, maybe at a time when it was particularly difficult to do so. Tell us a little bit about your story.
Okay. Well, I was living the American dream. I was in Orlando, married, big house, big career, child in private school, boat, the works. And the more I accumulated, the less I wanted it. Enough was never enough. The treadmill just kept getting faster and faster. And so I was thinking, when my only child goes away to school, I'll make some changes. And I did. I got a divorce. She went away to school, and I met someone new who died very suddenly of a heart attack. And so the rug was ripped out from under me, and I said, well, what do I have to lose?
And so at that point, facing what was just kind of a long list of bad things that happened to you, you decided that you were just kind of going to push it all away and start living maybe a richer and more adventure-filled life. How did you do that?
Well, first I called my dad and I asked if I could borrow his camper. And I wanted to go on a road trip out west by myself, just kind of to regroup and give myself time to think about what to do next. And he asked if I would go to Alaska with him. And this was his lifelong dream. So we took off on this road trip. And when I returned to Orlando, I knew that I could never live there again. So I liquidated my house and moved to South Florida. And my big goal in life was to work at a tiki bar on the beach.
Nice, I like that one.
So I didn't find the tiki bar, but I did end up at a marina bar. And there I met Captain Pete, who lived on his sailboat. And his dream was to go island hopping in the Caribbean. I never sailed, but
what a coincidence.
What do I have to lose?
Right?
So,
okay.
So we took off to do that. And then finally, when it was time to move again, my dream always was to live in Florence. So I rented a room from a woman on the internet. I didn't speak the language or know a soul, wired her some money, and 2 weeks later showed up.
No, okay, here's what I'm noticing about this pattern. It takes a lot of courage to be able to do that. I think there's probably a lot of viewers at home, and and I can probably even speak for myself. There's a time where you just go, gosh, I just really want to get away from it all. But to do that, you've got to muster up the courage. Where did you find this courage to do that?
The adventure was worth it all. I was gaining so much more than I was losing. But it is scary. Change is scary no matter what. Yeah. And you just have to really be honest with yourself and say, what would bring me joy? So for me, it was travel, adventure, freedom. So I wasn't really scared too much at the time. Okay,
now, did I read in here you have kind of a how-to guide, how to live on like $12,000 to $14,000
yes,
a year?
Yes.
Yeah, tell me about that.
So the idea is that you rent a room from someone local in wherever you want to go. And there's a wonderful website called sublet.com that's international. So you rent a room for basically $500 a month somewhere in the world, and then the other $500 you use to feed yourself, a bus ticket, a museum pass, something like that. And then in the wintertime, I come back to the States and work at a high-season place where I can stash a lot of cash, work really hard, and then make it last as long as I can.
And I'm sure this, this book is how many pages? Well over 400 pages, probably approaching 450. And what are we going to find in reading this book?
Well, I address the hard things, like what do you do about health insurance? So I have a catastrophic health insurance policy that has a $5,000 deductible.
With a high deductible.
Right, but if anything little happens, I'm healthy, I don't smoke, I don't have any issues, so I only pay about $200 a month for that policy. Wow. So, and then what about security? Well, I believe security is a myth, especially because of what happened to me. So, and then what about retirement? I think that retirement is a moving target. How old am I going to be? What's my health going to be? What's my finances going to be? There are so many things. My theory is live well today. Don't worry about the future, especially for days that may never come. You may never even have to worry about retirement.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Go now. If I have to work when I'm 70, I will.
Step outside and hit my bus,
exactly.
As they say. But are you spending a lot of time in Tuscany right now?
That's where I ended up when I moved to Florence. I went to the winery one day as a tourist and met a handsome winemaker, and I never left.
There he is.
That's Giuseppe, and I live at Il Salvatore Winery. So if anyone's in Tuscany, you can come visit and drink some wine with us.
Oh, girl, I'll be knocking on your door. Don't worry about that. And you brought a sample here.
Yes, that's the Super Tuscan.
You know, I guess the interesting part is maybe when you first started out on this venture, you had no idea what things were going to happen along the way, what the adventures were going to be. And looking back right now, did you make the right choice? Are you happy?
Absolutely, absolutely. The world is a big playground. 99.5% of the people are wonderful, open, loving, warm people, and you just have to go. Don't ask the universe to guide your footsteps if you're not willing to move your feet.
I like that. Where's your book available?
Everywhere. Amazon. It's an ebook, so if you want to do the green thing.
Yep, there we go. And it's Living Without Reservations, a journey by land, sea, and search of happiness. And that's something that we are all searching for, undoubtedly. And this is Barbara Singer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was great meeting you. What a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, stick around. There's a whole lot more IndyStyle coming up after this.